Hey, Andy here from builderhottub.com. In this video, I'm going to talk about DIY above ground hot tubs. So let's go ahead and take a look. DIY above ground hot tubs. Well, what's all that about? Well, this behind me is a beautiful example of an above ground DIY hot tub. As opposed to being sunken into the ground, you actually create a base and then you create your hot tub above ground so that you're stepping into it or up and into it rather than down and into it. Pretty straightforward, I guess. Now, in this video, I'm going to cover all of the considerations that you need to think about if you're considering building a DIY above ground hot tub. Now, before we get going, always a great opportunity to say, please do subscribe to the channel, hit that notification icon to be notified when my videos go live. I do 2 long form videos just like this every single week, a whole bunch of shorts, and everything on this channel focuses on DIY hot tubs, plunge pools, parts, and everything in between. So with that out of the way, let's dive into the video and get going. Okay, so the first thing that you're going to need to decide for your above ground DIY hot tub is the location. Now, you may only have 1 or maybe 2 potential locations on your property, or you may be fortunate to have a whole bunch of different places that you can actually put this. Now, one of the main considerations is space. What have you got available? Second is access to utilities, so you're going to need to be able to fill a hot tub, you're going to need to be able to top it up, and you're going to obviously need some form of electricity to your control room as well. Now, in terms of the control room, where are you going to locate this? Is it going to be too noisy if it's by a window at your property, or is it going to be too noisy if it's close to the neighbours? You've got to think about these things when you're designing your above ground DIY hot tub. Also, with the control room, you don't want to be a million miles away. So what do I mean by that? Well, you don't really want to be more than around 20 feet away from your hot tub. If you do, we're going to need to consider pipe sizes, pump sizes to make sure that you've got enough flow for your jets. So my top tip on the control room placement for your DIY above ground hot tub is as close as possible to the tub, and that will just give you the best performance on your jets. Okay, so you've decided on a location. What's the next thing that we need to look at? Well, it's actually the design. And by design, I mean the size, the shape. How many jets are you going to have? How are you going to heat the hot tub? There's different heating options. So let's kind of go back and look at some of these points in a little bit more detail. So in terms of size, I always say don't go too big. You know, you're not trying to create a swimming pool here, you're trying to create a hot tub. The bigger it is, the more expensive it's going to be to heat, and potentially the longer it's going to take to heat as well. So think about the maximum amount of bathers that are going to be in the hot tub. How much space do you actually want? Personally, I don't like to be crammed in and knocking feet, that kind of thing. I like my own space when I'm in a tub. So think about that, and also think about the space that you've got available for your DIY above ground hot tub. Now, depending on how you're going to build this, and we'll look at the different structural methods a little bit later in this video, what shape are you going to build? Now, I always say that squares and rectangles are much easier to create in block, ICF, and poured concrete forms. I'm going to look at all of those very shortly. Cylindrical hot tubs, a bit more difficult to form up, a little bit more difficult, certainly on the block side of things, but totally possible. So have a think about the shape, have a think about your own skills, and from there you can work out what's going to work for you. Now, on the plans and the designs, I have a whole bunch of these in my online store. They're all perfectly suitable for DIY above ground hot tubs. So check them out. It's shop.builderhottub.com, and I'll also put a link to those underneath this video. Heating options for your above ground hot tub. Okay, so electricity, it's become incredibly expensive as I record this video to be heating hot tubs on electricity alone. Now, they're also, with the downsides of electricity, the speed of heat up is a lot slower than something like gas or propane, for example. Gas and propane, really quick to heat the tub. You do have to have access to those utilities. Now, not everybody has them piped in or have tanks on their property, so think about that when you're thinking about which heating option is for you. Now, my personal favourite at the moment is air source heat pumps. Air source heat pumps are great if you have a mild temperature, all year round. However, if you have extreme temperatures in the winter, for example, you're not going to get a great deal of heat out of an air source heat pump. If you're looking to use this all year round, then air source probably isn't for you. If you have really cold, snowy, freezing winters, think about something more along the lines of gas and propane if you have that option available to you. You could also go a little bit creative on the heating. I've got more videos on this on the channel. You can search for it. Can you use a heat exchanger off your home heating system to harness some of the heat you're creating already? Check out my video. I'll put a link to that underneath this one as well about running your hot tub from your home boiler. Use this as an additional heating method. It can just save you some money as well on the heating costs. Next decision, how are you actually going to make this? So what materials are you going to use to construct your DIY above ground hot tub? Three of the main ones. You've got CMU block. That's the hollow block that you drop in your rebar, you fill with concrete, and it gives a really strong structure. You've also got ICF blocks, which are the polystyrene insulated concrete forms. Again, you drop rebar in, you fill them full of concrete, and it gives you a very structurally sound above ground hot tub, but also it gives you the thermal properties and it gives you some insulation through those expanded polystyrene. So they're pretty good in that you don't need to add additional insulation to them. I also like the fact with ICF blocks that you can put them together with one person. Us DIYers, we're normally doing it on our own. Maneuvering these round on your own is really, really easy. They're quick and simple to put together. Think of it as Lego for adults. So check out ICF blocks. I've got my own range. They're called tub blocks. So it's buildahottub.com/tub blocks if you want more information on those. And lastly, a poured concrete form is also a good option. There's an example of this happening behind me. You create a wooden form into which you then place your plumbing and you then fill full of concrete. It gives you formed up walls. Your plumbing's all hidden, and it's a great way of creating an above ground hot tub. Now, if you are not forming up your walls, so if you're going to use one of the block methods, then you've got to think, how are you going to cover your plumbing once you've finished your tub? So what do I mean? Well, when you fit the plumbing to your CMU block tub, for example, you're going to core some holes and the plumbing is going to sit outside, kind of like this behind me, of the blocks. So you've got to think about how you're going to cover this up to give you a finished look at the end. Now, in-ground tubs, you can kind of leave it as is, you can fill full of stone and you won't see the plumbing because the ground will actually be covering them. However, with above ground tubs, you're going to have to think of some way of creating a finished wall or facade. Look at this behind me. This is absolutely beautiful, and this is a blocked finish, and that's gone onto the poured concrete form. So it's kind of like a tiled finish, but it gives a stone look, and it's absolutely beautiful. Slight downside if you're doing this, your walls are going to be slightly thicker. However, make it a feature, make it a fact that you can actually sit on top of them and dangle your legs into the tub if you wish. So it's not a huge issue, but your walls are going to be a bit thicker if you need to cover up those pipes. On average, they're going to be around 12 inches or 30 centimeters thick. So those are the key points to building a above ground DIY hot tub. Can I help you? I have loads and loads and loads of information on buildahottub.com. Everything you need is all covered there. My guides, my plans are all available in the store, so please do check them out. And of course, if you're looking for something that isn't available in the store, you've got a real idea of what you want, I can turn that into reality with a custom design for you. Please do get in touch. Hit me up in the comments, get in touch via buildahottub.com. As always, I appreciate the view. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next video. If you've liked this video, please do like, share, and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you on the next video.